everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be playing some Azorius. Hello everybody, welcome back. We're going to be playing Azorius Synthesizer. Holy, say that 3 times fast if you would. Azorius, I'm not doing it, I'm just kidding. But what are we doing here? We are pretty much melding the artifact deck with the Azorius control deck and bringing what we like from both decks into one, and seeing if we can't make some version of control with a synthesizer win con a viable deck, a viable playable strategy pile of cards together. So how are we doing that? Well, for the control side of it, we are stacking up on our 3 steps ahead, which is by far the best card in terms of counter magic or just overall playability that our deck can have, because the fact that the copy artifact part is so relevant. If you have a synthesizer in play, you can use this card to copy, say, another Might Stone Weak Stone, which is very cool because then you can -5 on a creature while also making another construct with synthesizer, or just generically drawing cards, making another copy of synthesizer if we have a ton of mana. Along with, if we can pay it all, counterspell, draw cards, make a copy of synthesizer, making a construct. Everything just gets better on this card as the game gets late. Also, having kind of that hard counterspell that's not dead to Cavern of Souls is just really, really good, because this card is still not a bad draw, even though we can't counter a spell. March for pretty much anything, Get Lost for pretty much anything, kind of fitting that control shell. March is being able to catch everything, Get Lost kind of our Planeswalker hit spell, and 3 No More Lies. Not going over too much on this. I do think we're a little bit more on the ground heavy, so playing a couple of these is fine, but I don't want to go too heavy. Foundry's down at 3, so we don't have a Nombo with our temporary lockdown, as we need this to answer Boros Convoke pretty badly. We're just not fast enough getting synthesizer set up if they go first and go way too wide too quickly. And rest in peace, because the graveyard combo decks fold to this card. Is kind of an auto win if you can get it in, but it's also a very hard matchup for us anyway. Like World Soul Rage is pretty tough. The Azorius infinite combo damage deck is pretty tough because of Grand Abolisher. World Soul just doesn't really care about your counter spells, and if we only have these 3 steps ahead, we had to have them immediately, and Synthesizer is just a little too slow to get there in that game. But if we can get a Rest in Peace in play, Synthesizer has plenty of time to get there. Memory Deluge kind of being our card to find a ton. I've had a couple of notes about this. We'll talk about it in a second. But Synthesizer being our key piece, whenever an artifact 3 mana or more enters the battlefield, we make a construct equal to how many artifacts we control. It's our main win con. Outside of that, pretty much what we're doing with it. Braided Net, tap a thing, craft. When a craft enters, makes constructs. So this helps build up our artifact count, if you would, because obviously we're a little bit lower. This being a spicy 1-of in our deck to exile another target creature. We don't have those. Or an artifact we control, return to the battlefield. Return it to the battlefield. That's really great with Might Stone Weak Stone, Thousand Moon Smithy, Synthesizers. Getting these to re-trigger, make more constructs, or draw more cards. It's just very nice. And then we have our board wipe package up here in 2 Sunfalls. I guess if you want to call temporary lockdown in that as well. But 2 Sunfalls, 2 Unstable Glyph Bridges, working the same as our Braided Net, where we can craft it and things like that to make our artifact count kind of go up, but also is a nice board wipe for us. And Farewell as a overall game resetter. This card is definitely really good for us against Domain, where we play Synthesizer, it gets Leyline Binding, and then a Herd Migration tried to kind of kill us, where that's a little bit tough for us because before we weren't playing a lot of board wipes. However, we can put a Farewell in the stack, clear it all up, along with getting rid of those Leyline Bindings and getting our Synthesizers back. And maybe if they have other artifacts under there, they'll all come back and trigger Synthesizer, and we'll make a ton of constructs and we'll be ready to go. So outside of that, let's go ahead and hop into the games. They go incredibly well for us today. Also, by the way, feel free to subscribe. Truly appreciate it. And let's just go game. Okay. We have the control side of our hand. Very cool. We'll keep. Even Coast. Oh. Golgari, huh? Sure. This is a Mosswood. I'm going to just hard counter it, I think. Just to get their card draw. Don't know anymore. Land? Land. Sure. Any land's good land here. course, no artifact here ready to go. They can do a draw or whatever. Could counter a spell that's important, like if there's a frill back or something goes on the stack here. I'll counter, if not a memory deluging, finding my land if I can. Always something, you know. You always gotta find your answers. There are two. Please. Thank you. I mean, if they have instant speed interaction with my synthesizer, so be it. Yeah, seems about right. Let me look at my top 4, find no land. But it is what it is. I have to just grab a double 3 steps ahead. But I think it's supposed to be memory deluge. Maybe it's a foundry. I'm not sure. Because then I can guarantee hit my 5th land. Like with the foundry acting as my 5th land. I still have this no more lies, so I'm still well protected. Hello, opponent. You can activate this if you'd like. Thank you. Let go. Take your turn. You can have it. It's all your turn. All your turn, all for you. I'm really hoping they try to like jam a Shieldred. Or Nissa. I just pick it off, you know? And I can Might Stone, Weak Stone, eat their Preacher, make a construct, and then we're cooking. At least it'll feel that way. Give me something to target with my No More Lies that I can counter. Okay, I don't care about that. Oh my god. Game just doesn't want me to draw lands, huh? And I'm like so worried about a Phyrexian Obliterator, honestly. I feel like that's what I might be up against. I don't know a whole lot of decks that play the Armored Scrap Gorger. We'll see. Like a thing, -5/-5, get the Preacher out of here, turn their threats into pretty much nothing. Now I have a creature in play. They can long goodbye it, I guess. What your hand's been sitting on is like creature removal. Long goodbye. Oh, sure. Still not a whole lot to do. I mean, I'll take my 1. I will take my 1. Again, we're just looking for lands. Okay. Sure. I guess I had a Memory Deluge my art. I hate that, like, if Memory Deluge is over here, they also, like, don't show it here. I understand it might be kind of confusing that there's 2, but, like, at the end of the day, that part of my deck, dude. Come on now. One, I guess. Another one, Sunfall, Odawara. Sure, I guess. And just hold up Painful Counterspell. Hold it up. Nah, this will block the Restless Cottage. This doesn't have to be painful. I can potentially No More Lies something. With that getting wider, it's going to be a lot tougher. Also, I think I've ruled out like a while ago that this is just Golgari, just playing this for this exact reason. So I don't think we have a whole lot to fear, especially now. Like they do just bring this up. I'm not that worried about it. I was right. They are Phyrexian, but they are what I just said. It's kind of wild. I wasn't expecting them to be it really, but like, it was weird. I had some off vibes about this little guy right here, you know? Sometimes Sometimes they be silly. They're being very silly here. I kind of need to just pass with counter magic up. But I can also just like do this. This can be used to channel the Odawara and then bounce like another obliterator if that's what their goal is. Along with making a ton of constructs. I'm just going to draw cards here. We're looking for as much as we can. As many as we can. Land. I have 1 mana. Foundry I don't need. Good rest in peace, but also don't need that. This boy's shipping. He's looking to take almost half your life total. Make a block, that makes sense. Gonna exile something from a yard. Probably should be Might Stone, Weak Stone. There you go. Yep. Yep. The Obliterator and the Fight spell. Now the thing is, to be fair, I can bounce the Obliterator if they put a Fight spell on it and target it. Huh, that's weird. Because then they could tail swipe at instant speed, I think. Alright. Making it a lot less likely that I need to worry about that. Okay, very unlikely that I need to worry about that. And I'll be able to pick up his counter spell magic and hold it for the rest of the game. Feels pretty good. Yeah. It's like... It's not like they don't have to block these. These have to pretty much be blocked. Yeah, I think I just hold up counter magic. Move to combat. Skip these in. I kind of figured as much. It might also be trying to sneak under me and get a win with like the Restless Cottage, but not really down to let that happen, you know. I still have Odawara Cycle, and I still have make a copy of Synthesizer, making a ton of constructs. Yeah, I'll take that. This is gonna get big now. Mirac's making a token, sure. Forget to tap your Scrap Gorger. Nah, that's too smart. Problem is, if they do go to combat, for them, is like they have to ensure it's lethal or they lose. If it's not lethal, then, you know, bad things happen. But they will not get an Obliterator to resolve unless they put a Cavern of Souls in play. And even then, likely they don't even get it to resolve. Virtue? Yeah. Yes. Ass. Sure. Uh-huh. I don't have the mana. I do, but I don't. At the same time, it's kind of funny. Yes. I'd like to make 2 more constructs, please. And they'll all single-handedly be lethal. Good game. Sorry, I needed to tell you I was scrying 2 to the bottom. Good game. My opponent goes first. I have mana, somewhat acceleration. Kind of need to just find something along the way. It's probably mono red anyway, and I'll probably lose regardless, but close. Oh, not now, dude. I needed these draws last game. I don't need them now. Oh, do we shred? Big shredder gamers? I don't know what's going on, but it's happening. Not mono red, so I feel way better about how we're gaming right now. I'm just gonna pass. Probably get lost this or get lost something else if it gets too crazy. Sick. What are we plotting? Are we plotting? The molten collapse? Wow. My deck just happens to dodge that. Go for this. Red and black available. We should be good. And of course, they can double map this. I don't care that much. I should have waited till instep, but whatever. Tapping out here makes me a little happy. That's a pretty good card. Sneak attack. I might not be what you thought I was. Look at top 5 cards of the library. Put one of those in your hand. Put the rest in the graveyard. Each opponent loses 3 life. Gain 3 life. Yeah. They go immediately into the top mode. I think me revealing the Might Stone Weak Stone made him think, oh, my opponent is playing something different. That's not good. Man. This one? I can actually activate its ability on my Might Stone Weak Stone, and now we draw a billion cards. This is ward. You leave it alone. If I swear, if there's a get lost coming out of your hand right now, it's on site. I remember when people weren't playing it as much. It just came out, and I was big advocate. This is going to change the game, and then it was like nobody played it. Oh, I guess that's plotted, right? Hey, my ward. Okay. Oop. I suppose you're gone. Do I draw here or just remove this thing? I think I just get it off the board. Also, sick creature, by the way. Bad card, by the way. This one, I'm looking to draw cards. Synthesizer, maybe. Oh, another one. Yep, exactly what I was looking for. It's what I wanted. All 3 copies. Currently in my... Was it? Oh, what the? So kind of sick. Now the equipment doesn't have protection. Everything else does. Do I just go to try to get it now? Guess so. They have Make Disappear. We saw one earlier. Like, they play it. I'm just actually pumped that they played Jace. And, like, some cool Browns creatures. Auto pay. Well, they know we were still just kind of dirtling, doing nothing. But that's like... That's kind of why I changed the game plan of the deck a little bit. Instead of just being all artifacts. It's like... I need to be able to win these games whenever I don't find a synthesizer. And sometimes the artifact deck just can't. Because you're just like... I guess I'll hold on to these glyph bridges, I suppose. Very sick. And then eventually we just lose. But now, with like... playing some other things like Abuelo and things like that have been very nice. Even though I didn't find a memory to lose there. But like I would have been very happy to find one off the top of my deck. So it's very nice. Alright. Well, if there was a time to play against Convoke, my 3 board wipes in my opener would be it. But knowing my luck, this right here is artifacts. Not artifacts. Blue-white control. Or Esper control. And I'm going to have an awful time. Okay, it's enchantments. Hello. I got, I think, bad news for you. I can't imagine with my hand that this matchup's bad. I'll take my 1. What do you got for me? Naturalist? Sure. I think I just go ahead and lock this down. Oh, especially with that land find here. Super sick. Lock them up. Don't make the reducers any better. Play my land. Exile their Calyx they play this turn. Complete guess, by the way. They didn't hit a land, so that's unfair. I can't be punished for this. I think I exile this now, and you might be like, why? And that's a great question, honestly. But I just don't want to have to deal with doggo shenanigans or anything like that. Let's just get it off the battlefield. We're going to do it regardless. It's not legendary, so it's not playing around much. All right, opponent, you gotta fight back. I mean, my hand was just completely curved to deal with the creature deck. And we're running low on resources. They're not hitting their land drops. So, like, for the first time, I think they're realizing that we're not quite what they thought we were. All they saw, I mean, this should give it away. But, like, I can see the argument being made for the other thing. I mean, I'm blocking. Again, I don't care what card they draw. They still have to cast that card. And they don't find a land. That sucks, dude. Okay, I mean, when I said fight back, it was a joke. I don't like winning games like this sometimes because it's just like, we've all been here. But at least I'm a deck that gives them time. Borrowed time, taking my temporary lockdown, sure. Here's the only problem with that. I have another lockdown. So, I kind of want to just let them go unhinged this turn and just hold up my counter magic, I think. I'd much rather get a ton of value off this Sunfall, and if them being bottlenecks was preventing them from flushing out the rest of the creatures in their hand, I'd much rather just counter things I might need to, or Memory Deluge and find better stuff, and just wipe the board all at once. You know, like Kami, for example. Great thing to let resolve here. Doesn't really trigger anything. Doesn't change the board state at all. Spirited Companion, good. They're going to get a little bit of value on these things, but I counter Spirited Companion, I think. Or do I just draw? I have no idea. I think I just Memory Deluge. And I just Sunfall this board next turn. So they get a card. But if they play land and then play another threat, like, I'm pretty pumped. Unless it's no Spirited Companion, then I'm kind of annoyed. Reign of Truth. That feels like a card that I should counter. Counter spell, draw 2 cards. Yes. Another card I'm kind of nervous of. Discard a card. It can just be a temporary lockdown. Not too opposed to that right now. I have the Glyph Bridge and I have a Sunfall. And I want to Sunfall here because of the fact that they have a Kami here and I don't want them to be able to bring it back, nor this gets left behind. So, I was seeing if there wasn't a play where I could get another artifact in play and then do what I wanted, but there's just not. Had to be that play. Exactly that play. 3 cards in hand to our 5. I have more draws in hand. I have a 4/4 secretly. Weaver. Sure. I mean, my 4/4 is not that secret. Piv, but it's there. This one. Yeah. Make another land drop. This is my favorite part about playing Memory Deluge, by the way. Is now in a lot of spots like right here I would have to play this Might Stone Weak Stone, and that would suck. It'd be super annoying, but I'm perfectly fine just doing what I'm doing here, casting Memory Deluge and go get cards. Counter that, of course. And Concession? No. Memory Deluge. 3 steps ahead. Honestly, I'll just take the land. Okay, I wouldn't have taken the land if I knew that was coming, but of course we don't always know that. That's gone. I have Memory Deluge on the back end, just no attack. I'll cast it again, looking for a synthesizer to build up and win eventually. Just kind of prioritizing that. They're in top deck mode, like you saw. We just like push forward and we try to win, and we do. And I haven't seen enchantments in a while, and I think my hand explains why we haven't seen enchantments in a while. It's just like, it's Convoke, but slower, but also has a hard time beating Convoke, I think. Opponent goes first. Farewell is kind of tough. This doesn't help a ton. It's like my hand currently. I don't know. Could be just an awful keep. This domain, I think any keep's an awful keep. But that's why we have farewell, and that's why I'm playing more control heavy stuff, because domain was before just a really bad kind of auto loss for us in general. Imagine this just has to be a read. We just have a cycle here. I heard migration cycle anyway. No, nothing. You control? No way, right? I guess I just realized that this wasn't for leyline binding. You're just playing leyline binding control. My hero. This, I have no interaction or counter spells. Let's just force him to counter something. Sure. I'd rather that get countered than my synthesizer. If we can weaken up the hand, then I'll do it. No more lives on your, or memory to lose on your end step. Sure. Sick. We have a land drop. We have this braided net, I guess, because braided net can draw us a ton of cards as well. I can pay for no more lives if I play this first. Oh boy. Life is like a box of chocolates. Sometimes you get leyline binding. I like how they did this before I even picked what I was going to keep on top. Make sure I pick first. Like, what are we doing? I guess I just set this down too now. You got a counter spell for this one? No? Okay. Like, just let me scry first. I understand Arena makes you feel like you have to do everything immediately. But, man, just let me scry. For your benefit, to be honest. This one? Sick. Draw cards? I love drawing cards. You like drawing cards, opponent? I'm not gonna play anymore until farewell theirs. I think. Also, I like to have a card in my hand to trigger the synthesizer. Ooh. Atraxa's coming. Any Atraxa gamers? Hiya. Got him. They don't know what to do about it. Land. Yes, pass. Please don't cast Atraxa, sir. I should have tapped that. Ah. It does take the mana away, so they can't cast an Atraxa. Technically. Alright, we're in combat. You got something? You annoyed with my braided net? If they're that annoyed that they leyline binding it, it'd be so funny. This one. Oh, they let it resolve. Very cool. 3 steps. 3 steps. I like countering Atraxas. If I'm obligated to and allowed. Pass? I can't find another synthesizer? I'm lost, chat. Scared, afraid, no home. Yep, and your mana's gone. That was the whole point. Because now if they have a tap lane, it just like keeps them from being able to do much else. I guess like instead of doing that, I should be activating this now. Like, I don't want to waste these cards. Braden, that's pretty like subpar. I'm making fun of him by just like hitting that. I just think it's funny. I'll put this one in hand. I have enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite enough. Add a card waste. I have enough now. Come at me, opponent. You can have your cornucopia this time. I won't stop it. I won't deal with it. Alright, demo field. That's kind of annoying. Up to 6. Would like to march this. You say that's allowed. Will you let me scry first? Or no? You know, honestly, kind of rude. Makes sense though. They still don't let me scry first, which is like happens to be the fun. I should have activated this in response because then I'd have more artifacts. No more line is probably bad, but I'll take a synthesizer. That seems fine. My turn. I play land. I put synthesizer on the stack. I scry too. Okay. I'm down with that. I want to put this braided net into play. Am I supposed to counter or am I supposed to copy? I'll counter. Yep. And I won't have a second blue to do that. It's just for a draw, so I should craft this. We'll pick the other braided net in here. I'll make 2 threats. If they were looking to do that, I mean, I could lose to a farewell. Please have it. Ooh, let's go. It's just a sunfall. Pog. We're so good. Sunfall, I'm perfectly fine with comparable to what a farewell would have done. You ever puke, chat? That's what that would have made me do. A little gross, but you know, we've all been there. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes that's throw up. Oh man, I hate my brain sometimes. It's just like, let's talk about gross stuff. Why we play Magic the Gathering. Alright, now opponent, that's just rude. Like to make a copy. Yep. No more lines is not that great. Rest in peace is horrible. So, oh, it doesn't matter. Okay. Said they had enough. They realized I was making a construct, I guess. Is that? I don't know. What? This had to be like a form of domain, right? And they just didn't find any tracks or something. But they definitely could have farewell. But we get a construct here. I do whatever. I shuffle away. So the scry didn't really matter. But then I activate braided net and I draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. And then put that back. Feels pretty good. I don't know if they could beat that. Well, I never really know how long to play matches, especially when it comes to playing something like this, because sometimes matches will go for 30 minutes. And I'm already at like 33, so I'm going to call it there. I think the deck performed a little bit better today than I thought it was going to. I've been working on it for a while. I've lost quite a couple of games. Not actually with this build of it, but I guess I could just show you. I was trying this for a while. I put these in via like a comment in the chat, but I got to the point I was like, man, I really have this idea, so I'm just going to switch back over to blue-white for a while and try something. I do like this a lot more if aggro seems to be everywhere, but I kept just running into control, so these were kind of like, like it just wasn't that important. So what I ended up doing is what you see here now is kind of going up a little bit more on the 3 steps. We're on 4. I mean, it's so valuable in a stack making copies of this. And it might be confusing at first because it's like, why are we playing synthesizer with not a ton of artifacts? And it's a little misleading. There's 3 here, so we have to kind of cut them from our list. We have 13 in total. And the thing I was realizing whenever I was playing is the only reason we needed so many artifacts was to get as wide as our opponents were, because we had no things to deal with a lot of creatures. So I opted to trim down on the foundries, cut a lot of the other artifacts that I think weren't that great, and just use things like temporary lockdown to save us for a while. Find a synthesizer when it's time. Scry. This is a thing people have to remove anyway. And then from there, let's just get the Might Stone, Weak Stone down, make a construct, or use the 3 steps ahead to copy the synthesizer, making 2 synthesizers, making a construct, and just pushing the game through that way. And I felt fine all day. It felt pretty good. Obviously, we went undefeated on the day. It was very nice. But I'm still unsure. There's things that I don't like and things I do like. I hate that I have to build it kind of for best of 1 because graveyard decks are very, very tough for us. Just because realistically, all we have is like, I guess by graveyard decks, I mean World Soul Rage. Because sure, we can counter their stuff, but like World Soul Rage turns No More Lies to be completely irrelevant. And 3 steps ahead is the only thing there, which they can eventually play around or just get through regardless of what I do. And we never can get the gas on quick enough. Even with the other artifact deck, I can synthesizer on 3, make constructs, and then they just still answer the board. They either put like an ill time or they World Soul Rage, and I don't quite kill them. I'm just short. And then the next turn, they do their whole combo turn, and I just can't keep up with it. So I had to add in Rest in Peace. If you're not running into a lot of graveyard, feel free to cut this card entirely. I'm just best of 1 sphere. I kind of felt the need to play it. It's also pretty free wins if you run into those decks because they slow down a ton and they don't generally have ways to deal with this card or any at all for the most part. Therefore, Rest in Peace stops them from getting too far ahead, and then we synthesizer and shut them down pretty much after that. And we have the control pieces that work as long as they're not ramping or just putting the combo in. And that's kind of the other thing. Like, if we're against the infinite damage version of combo that uses the graveyard, we can't stop Grand Abolisher. Like, they play Cavern eventually. They do their thing. We're just a little too short or too slow, and they do play a little bit of interaction, so sometimes they just counter a synthesizer, and that's enough to slow us down for them to win. We just need to be able to interact or get a card like Rest in Peace that can just shut the game down. The other problem is, against Convoke in the past, I was having a lot of troubles being like, wow, they've just go too wide way too fast for me, especially in best of 1 when they get the really good hands. That I needed to get Lockdown in, and Lockdown was pretty much a nombo with a lot of what we were trying to do early. It would eat our Power Stone tokens. It would eat our like Fabrication Foundry. So you can see I'm on 3 now. It would eat the other 2 mana artifact that like is just a generic mana artifact, and Market Gnomes and things like that. So I kind of opted to cut all that out and play like still a little bit of it because it's still good to play this one too. But the matchups at Temporary Lockdown are incredible. I don't feel near as bad putting it on the stack and hindering my progress a ton. Whereas before, you definitely would be because you're going to exile all the things that you've been working to build. Even though it might save you, you still kind of hinder yourself enough that your opponent might catch back up. And realistically, if I have to Temporary Lockdown and eat enough of these constructs that it feels bad, I'm either getting absolutely slammed regardless, and my constructs being in play don't matter anyway, or me lockdowning is going to clear the way so well that I can start making tokens after. So with the lack of artifacts, we can talk a little bit. Don't let that like kind of dwell too much, because we actually have more than you think whenever it comes to cards like Braided Net or Unstable Glyph Bridge. These kind of count as 5, even though Braided Net, you can actually get it back as well. Because when you craft these, they re-enter the battlefield and they trigger themselves. And the 3 steps ahead is also 4 artifacts of any type. And I did add 1 creature in a Boilo to be kind of a very sweet card that has Ward 2. It's flying. It's a 2/2, not really looking to block. But we can use this 3 mana ability that goes so hard. If you have a Synthesizer in play and a Boilo in play, and you get a Might Stone and Weak Stone online, holy cow, you're able to use the mana from this and stuff to pay in the Boilo flickering this, and on end step this will re-enter. You can draw 2 cards or get a creature out of the way and make a construct, and it just feels so good. It feels so incredible. Or you can do a creature if we had one. We don't really have a way to do that, but just in case you want to add more, like I thought about playing an Urza as well. But outside of that, if you really want to, the recommendations, I would say that if you want to play this, you can get the Rest in Peace out, play more Get Lost, or play something else. Like in general, if you want to play, put the artifacts back in and maybe not play Temporary Lockdown, find something else for you. Feel free, of course. Obviously, you know, it's your deck. You can do whatever you want. Have fun with it. But outside of that, I hope you all enjoyed regardless. My webcam was being funky today. It's really bright right now. It was really dark earlier, so I don't know what's going on with it. So if it flickered throughout the video, I'm sorry. But I hope you all enjoyed it anyway. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.